Hello and welcome to Volusia Magazine. I'm Amber Osman. In today's episode, county officials joined the US Coast Guard for a rescue and recovery exercise in Volusia coastal waters. And the cheerleaders are back in Daytona Beach for the NCA Championships taking place at the Ocean Center. In Here and Now, we visit an award-winning Volusia County school program. And later on in Solutions for Your Life, we get tips on growing a backyard garden. Finally, joining Joanne Magley in the studio is Polly Peyer with Guardian ad Litem. Those segments, news and more coming right up on Volusia Magazine. I hope you stay tuned. How would emergency personnel respond if a commercial airplane crashed into the ocean near Ponce Inlet? More than 100 emergency responders simulated that scenario recently at the US Coast Guard station in Ponce de Leon Inlet. Coast Guard staff led the full-scale exercise with help from Volusia County, the American Red Cross, and New Smyrna Beach Fire Department.
This simulation of an airplane crash was based on an aircraft coming from Europe and declared an emergency, talked to the Daytona International Airport, and they basically notified the Coast Guard and said they had a plane declaring an emergency, was en route to Daytona International, and it just didn't quite make it there. And so this being the closest safe harbor entrance, that's why we conducted the exercise, to provide those services to the people that were in distress.
It was all hands on deck as Coast Guard and Volusia County Sheriff's Office boats raced to the scene to locate mannequins bobbing in the water. The staff used their training and experience to rescue victims, secure them on board, and bring them to the Coast Guard station. Back on land, Homeland Security students from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University posed as fuel-soaked victims with various injuries. Volusia County's hazmat team was ready to decontaminate them and prepare them for the next level of care. Evac ambulance then took over, conducting triage and treatment before simulating transport to local hospitals. Meanwhile, an incident command center was established to oversee communications and the coordination of activities. Incident command centers are established under urgent conditions to facilitate command, operations, planning, logistics, intelligence, and investigations.
And the communication side of it, which is really unique, is that the reason the communication trailer is here is they actually patched in our Coast Guard working frequency offshore so they could talk directly to Volusia County Emergency Management, as in fire, Volusia Fire, as in evac. So when they're bringing people in, so they're coordinated, so when they land at the dock, they know where they're going to be and they can provide the medical assistance and the decontamination with them.
The Ponce de Leon Inlet Coast Guard Station provides offshore search and rescue operations from Fort Matanzas to Haulover Bridge Canal, which is south of Edgewater. It was founded in 1938 and is staffed by 30 Coast Guard men and women. Thousands of people will visit Volusia County in the coming weeks to attend sporting and convention events at the Ocean Center in Daytona Beach. The National Cheerleading Association and National Dance Association Collegiate Cheer and Dance Championships will kick off a 5-day competition April 6th, and the International Championship will take place April 16th and 17th. More than 10,000 student athletes, coaches, and spectators from 35 states, Japan, Canada, and Costa Rica are competing at the Ocean Center. Angela Daniels, Sales and Marketing Director for the Ocean Center, said this annual cheer and dance competition is one of the biggest for the county.
The economic impact is invaluable with this group. Not only over 9,000 room nights, but they are really saturate the entire county with the restaurants, attractions, and gift shops. So it's a great economic impact for our entire county.
The first NCA College National Championship was held in Texas in 1981. The event was moved to Daytona Beach in 1996 and has remained here ever since.
So this is the 20th year anniversary for the National Cheerleading Association, bringing their events and us being their home base. Please join us in supporting this group and experiencing these sensational competitions.
The competitions are open to the public. Admission is $20, cash only for the preliminaries and finals April 7th and 8th. Tickets are $10 for the April 9th competition and $45 for a 3-day pass. Children under 7 are free. For more information, you can visit nca.varsity.com or you can call 800-NCA to win. Are you ready to begin a life-changing career in law enforcement? Volusia County's Division of Corrections has opening at the Volusia County Branch Jail and Correctional Facility. You can get the facts during a corrections career fair from 1 to 4 p.m. Tuesday, April 12th at the Volusia County Branch Jail, which is on Red John Drive, west of Daytona Beach. Attendees will meet with staff, tour the facility, and learn about the benefits and job responsibilities. They also can fill out the application and begin the pre-screening process.
Our employees interact daily with individuals who are facing criminal charges or have been convicted of such. And the candidates that we're looking for are compassionate, caring, but at the same time are able to maintain control and custody of individuals involved in our criminal justice system.
The Corrections Division offers opportunities for promotion and a full slate of benefits, including enrollment in the special risk class of the Florida retirement system. Officer trainees are paid $14.40 an hour as they undergo 420 hours of academy training in interpersonal skills, legal issues, first response, emergency preparedness, correctional operations, defensive tactics, and safe use of firearms. Upon becoming a certified corrections officer, the pay is increased to $15.94 an hour. Applicants must be at least 19 years old, tobacco-free, and in good physical condition. They also must have a Florida driver's license and a high school diploma or a GED certificate. They cannot have a felony or misdemeanor conviction involving moral character, perjury, or false statements. For more information about the job fair and careers in corrections, you can contact Tammy King at tking@volusia.org or 386-736-5951. Applications also may be submitted at any time by visiting volusia.org and clicking on Career Opportunities.
Once there was a boy who did the same thing again and again. One day, he was told he had autism. He got help and slowly learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Did you know that Volusia County schools are recognized as a next-generation learning community at the leadership level by the Ford Motor Company Fund? And as Here and Now reporter Joanne Magley explains, the school system received this honor because of its successful career academies.
The Academy of AgriScience at New Smyrna Beach High School is one of 34 academies offered through the Volusia County school system. Career academies are small learning communities that combine a college preparatory curriculum with a career focus, and more than 3,000 students are enrolled.
Listen to this young man over here.
What did you say? Elizabeth Harper is the AgriScience Academy Director.
When I first came to this program, it didn't make sense to me to teach students how to raise pigs on the beach. So it was important to me to tailor this program for our community. So I can teach my students agriculture through fish, through raising sea oats, through raising Florida native plants. And it is the same thing as agriculture as if I was raising corn and pigs. But this fits our community much better.
The students also have an outdoor classroom where they get real-life experience raising all kinds of animals.
So we've got great facilities out there, and the students are welcome to have an animal and raise it out there. Everything is owned by the student, so the student is responsible for feeding the animal, for caring for the animal, and making sure that animal is doing what it's supposed to be doing every day, whether it's rain or shine or their birthday or Christmas.
When students enter the 9th grade, they can pick their academy. For AgriScience, all ninth graders must take an agriculture foundations class where they learn all about the industry. In 10th grade, they can choose a specific track, such as horticulture, aquaculture, or vet assistance, which is what Micaiah Weep chose.
I've wanted to be a vet since I was like 6. So I've been looking, and this is the only academy, school that has the veterinary academy in Volusia County. By the end of when I graduate, I take my state exam to become a vet assistant. So if I pass it, then I'm already a vet assistant instead of having to go through more years of college to get my vet assistant.
Jeremiah Palmer hopes to become an ag science teacher.
It's a great academy. The hands-on experience we get out here with the animals. I have a market hog, and I come out here, I let him run around in the little grass area he's got, and I clean out the pen, keep it nice and healthy. I feed him. Well, I want to teach agriculture when I get older, and just the experiences that I've gotten out here with working with the animals, and just, it's really positive.
While some of the students raise farm animals, others run an animal-based business, like the doggy daycare, which operates right out of the AgriScience classroom. Students make appointments, communicate with customers, take care of the animals, and keep records of everything.
In this academy, we work very hard to have not only classroom instruction, but the applied project part. And then, of course, we have a student organization that functions as career readiness.
When the students leave high school, they take with them an agriculture background, and in some cases, certifications, such as a vet assistance or with the Florida Nursery Growers and Landscape Association. But just as important, they leave with a wealth of life and leadership skills. For Volusia Here and Now, I'm Joanne Magley.
Today on Solutions for Your Life, Joe Sewards gets us in the backyard to help develop Florida-friendly landscapes.
Hi, welcome to Horticulture Today. I'm Joe Sewards. You've heard me talk in the past a lot about Florida-friendly landscaping. Right plant, right place, watering efficiently, mulching, recycling, attracting wildlife, managing lawn pests responsibly. I'm at the home of Bob and Liz Croft today, and they've employed many of the principles of Florida-friendly landscaping. In this garden here, they've employed watering efficiently by incorporating lots of organic matter into their garden, much like Bob did in his vegetable gardens. They're doing the same thing here. They're enriching the soil, increasing organic matter. That reduces the amount of fertilizer that they have to apply because as organic matter breaks down, it releases nutrients. It reduces the amount that they have to water. They told me they don't water at all in here. They've got so much organic matter in these beds that it holds enough water for these plants to get by on their own. So today I'd like to introduce you to Liz Croft. Liz is the mastermind behind this Florida-friendly landscape. And Liz, I'd like you to tell us some of the things that you've done that have made this such a successful landscape.
Well, when we started this whole area, we moved in 5 years ago, and there was really nothing here. It was just a bunch of ferns like you see around the perimeter and some scraggly looking grass and dirt. But I decided that I wanted something more interesting, but we didn't want to pay a lot of money for it, quite frankly. My husband found the wood that you see for the walkways in dumpsters or wherever he could find it, and we just started fashioning our own design here and added as we went. We've used cuttings from other people's yards, and we've split the plants whenever they got big, and basically tried to do it on a budget. And as you can see, it looks natural. As a matter of fact, friends and visitors have called this a mini park. So this is what you can do on a shoestring, really. And as Joe was talking about earlier with xeriscaping and watering, we save on watering this whole area because of the compost level
and the layers of mulch, natural mulch. We have a lot of shade trees, so the leaves drop, and we only need to water occasionally when it hasn't rained in quite a while. And I do splurge and water my potted flowers that you might see scattered around. But other than that, this has been a work in progress, and we're always adding things.
Well, that's the fun of it. And it's like any other garden. I tell people, gardens are never finished. They're always changing. But you can see by just employing common sense, sticking to the principles of Florida-friendly landscaping, mulching, recycling, they've created a very lovely setting. If you have more questions about Florida-friendly landscaping or how to transition your yard to make it more Florida-friendly, feel free to call us at the University of Florida IFAS Extension in Volusia County. Phone number is area code 386-822-5778, or you can visit us on the web at volusia.org/extension. Thank you, Liz.
Thank you.
For Horticulture Today, I'm Joe Sewards.
Established by Congress in 1914, University of Florida IFAS Extension has been providing solutions for 100 years. We bring research-based information to individuals, businesses, and communities. As part of the land-grant university system, we have experts in every one of Florida's 67 counties. Our educational programs improve lives, build economies, and help protect the state's valuable natural resources. We're committed to providing reliable information that impacts the lives of every Floridian. As Florida continues to grow, UF IFAS Extension will be there to provide practical solutions to Florida's most challenging problems. University of Florida IFAS Extension, solutions for the next 100 years.
It's time to head into the studio and join the Director of Community Information, Joanne Magley, and her guest, Polly Peyer, with Guardian ad litem.
Thanks, Amber. Well, court cases involving child abuse, neglect, or abandonment can be very emotionally traumatic for all involved, especially children. In many of these cases, Guardian ad litem are appointed by the court to advocate for the wants, needs, and rights of children. It takes a very special, caring person to be a volunteer Guardian ad litem, and with us in the studio today to talk about the program is Polly Peyer, a volunteer with the Guardian ad litem program. Hi, Polly.
Hello, thank you for having me today.
Thanks for being here. So, Guardian ad litem is a Latin term.
Yes.
Give us the layman's explanation of what it means.
We are an advocate in the dependency court for the children, and we look after the best interest of the children. In the court system, there are a lot of attorneys, and it's run by a judge. And so we are lay people. As a volunteer, I do not have a legal background. We do have some lawyers who are Guardian ad litem volunteers, but for the most part, we have anybody from any walk of life. I'm retired military. We have teachers, we have nurses, we have financial people, banking people. Any sort of person can be a volunteer to advocate for the best interests of the children in the dependency court.
So the guardians are appointed by the 7th Judicial Circuit.
Right.
How do these appointments happen?
You volunteer, first of all, and the volunteer effort is a process where you make an application, and your application's reviewed. Usually there's an information session if you want to know more about the program, that you can go and talk to some volunteers who have been volunteers for a while, find out what the program is, what the commitment is, and then you go through a training session, about 30 hours of training. Some of it's classroom, some of it's computer, some of it's court watch, where you actually go and you observe in court. And at the end of that process, and you become certified, and the actual end of the process is when the judge has an appointment letter that appoints a person, a volunteer, by name, and gives you all the authorities for a Guardian ad litem volunteer.
So let's talk about the specifics. What exactly do the guardians do?
Our primary involvement is to visit a child in their home, in their environment, sometimes in schools, sometimes where their caregivers are. But we visit the children on a minimum of once a month. A lot of volunteers visit more often. We go to court when the case is heard in court. Usually those mandatory are from every 3 months to 6 months. Sometimes it's a different cycle. And we advocate for the child in court, make sure that their best interests are put in front of the judge. To do all of that, there's some documentation. We write a report with a recommendation which becomes part of the court record. And so in court, our judge usually asks us specifically, a guardian ad litem, what the children's needs are. What do we recommend for permanency for the child? And so we are there to advocate for their best. We don't represent the child, but we advocate for their best interest.
So how much influence do the guardian ad litems actually have during the court proceedings?
So there are 5 different judges who specifically hear dependency cases. Each one of those judges usually calls upon the guardian ad litem during the court proceedings to speak in his or her terms, in terms of the relationship of the child, what type of services the child needs, whether those services are being met. And so we're part of a team when we go in front of the judge, and the team consists of a guardian ad litem attorney who assists the guardian ad litem volunteers, the case manager from the Community Partnership for Children, and the Department of Children and Families. And so we're a team that goes in front of the judge to pretty much present to the judge the background on the child.
So I would suspect that many times these court proceedings can go on for months, and you probably develop a bond with the child that you're advocating for.
Well, absolutely. And I've had children from infants, the minute they get out of the hospital, maybe they're addicted to drugs when they're born, all the way through teenagers. And so, of course, different age groups, you can communicate differently. There are a lot of joys in being a guardian ad litem. A lot of the children, you develop a special relationship with children. And so the cases are usually about a year. I would say that's an average. Some do close earlier than that, and some go farther than 1 year. And so in the course of that time frame, if you see in a child once a month, or more often. I know I've visited children in the schools. I've been to their birthday parties. I've been to the splash park with them. A lot of different variety of things, daycare, nurseries. So you get to see the children in different environments, how they respond to other children. How are they doing in school? What do the school teachers and the counselors say about their behavior? We're also authorized to talk with any type of therapist or counselors that the children have. So we can get a better idea what the children need and whether their needs are being met.
So obviously it takes a very special type of person to do this type of volunteer work. What would you say are the characteristics of a person that would be good at being a guardian ad litem?
Definitely compassion and passion. I mean, they're two different things. I'm also a mentor for new guardians that come into the system, and one of the things that I try to express to them is that try to find the balance between objectivity and subjectivity. You have to know the child and you know the child's environment in order to speak on the best interests of the child. But you have to have a level of objectivity so that you can analytically make an assessment and make recommendations to the judge, which are framed in a legal process and framework, so that the judge has a good set of options to choose from. So as much compassion as you have to be careful that you are able to separate yourself sometimes and be objective about what the best interests of children are.
So what are the type of legal proceedings that would require a child to be appointed a guardian ad litem? What are the different types of cases?
Your introduction was perfect because you talked about there are really like 3 criteria, and that's abuse, abandonment, and neglect. And those come in different forms, of course. But if a child is in an environment, and that can come about in a variety of different ways. There are hotlines that are called for child abuse. Some of them are a result of parents or caregivers being in trouble with the law enforcement, and law enforcement sees that. Sometimes neighbors are concerned. And so when a child enters the system and there is an investigation which goes, then the child then is presented to the court as a potential dependent in the state for state dependency.
How many guardian ad litems do we have for the Volusia County area?
I can speak for the 7th Judicial Circuit, which includes Volusia, like I said, Volusia, Flagler, Putnam, and St. John's. There are about 450 guardian ad litem volunteers in that system, and there are about 1,000 children in that system. That number fluctuates. Actually, it has risen a lot in the last 2 years by about 30%. There are more children in the system. And so usually a guardian ad litem takes on one case as a new guardian ad litem, but eventually a second or third case can be assigned, and that's the volunteers can kind of modify that and moderate that if they wish. And when I say case, sometimes case has multiple children. You can have, you know, one child, 4 children on a case, and they might not all be living in the same location. But we pretty much count cases, but children, there are about 1,000 children and about 450 volunteers in the 7th Judicial Circuit.
So there's a need for additional volunteers.
Absolutely.
What sort of skills or training would be involved for somebody that's maybe thinking about doing this type of volunteer work?
Well, the skill set, like I said, is it's a really strong desire and a willingness to make a commitment to children's best interest. The training is taken care of by the program. Like I said, there's about 30 hours of initial training. And then after you're a guardian ad litem, you still go through continuing training. Some of it's very specific, like you may learn more about psychotropic drugs that children are on, or you learn more about therapy. And so the training is about 12 hours a year, continuing training after you get your initial 30 hours of training. And so it's an evolving system, and we keep current with things that are going on social issues.
So where can people get more information if they want to be a guardian ad litem?
Our local guardian ad litem has a website. It's gal7.org.
Okay.
So it's GAL, the number 7.org. And it has background information, has contact information, and we have a recruiter that will respond. And once again, if you want more information, come into the office and we can give you more information.
All right, well, thanks so much for joining us today on Volusia Magazine. Great information, and we hope it gets you more volunteers into the system.
Oh, I hope so. Thank
Our
you.
guest today, Polly Peyer, a volunteer with the Guardian Ad Litem program. Amber, back to you.
Thanks, Joanne, and thank you for watching Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about the show, you can feel free to give us a call at any of the numbers you see listed here, or you can log on to volusia.org and click on the News tab at the top of the screen to find us. Incidentally, you can find the County Council's meeting calendar there too. In fact, you can use volusia.org to find out about meeting dates, workshops, topics of interest, activities, and how you can become involved. And we hope you won't forget to listen to Volusia Today. That's Volusia County Government's weekly public radio broadcast. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday mornings on the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Amber Osmond. Have a wonderful evening.